Chapter 56. The Top Ordinary Disciple. Let me have a look at that skill book. Suddenly said a voice coming from the left. Lin Feng turned around and saw two young disciples. There was a young man who looked extremely evil while staring at the other disciple. Besides, his manner of speaking sounded like he was giving the other disciple an order. That other young disciple was called Chen Chen. Lin Feng had already seen him before. He was an ordinary disciple, just like Lin Feng. However, he was much more famous than Lin Feng. This skill is mine, said Chen Chen while coldly staring at the evil-looking disciple. It wasn't rare to see elite disciples despise ordinary disciples, and this was clearly a case of an elite disciple trying to bully Chen Chen. How insolent, for an ordinary disciple to dare refuse my request, shouted the young man furiously while releasing an extremely strong qi from his body. Li Lin, don't think that I don't know who you are. You are one of the weakest elite disciples. You only dare show off in front of us ordinary disciples. This year at the upcoming elite disciple exam, I, Chen Chen, will remove that smug head from your body. I will make your head roll from the fighting stage into the dirt where you belong, said Chen Chen while emanating killing intent. Li Lin, you are an ordinary little boy, that's all you are. You're a joke. All those who were on the second floor of the Xing Chen pavilion were looking at them and laughing. Chen Chen was right. Li Lin was an elite disciple, but he was extremely weak in comparison with the other disciples of the sect. In order not to feel inferior in front of other people, he regularly went and bullied ordinary disciples, trying to use his authority and power to gain a feeling of superiority. He hadn't thought that today he would meet this kind of stubborn ordinary disciple who would actually refuse and insult him. Chen Chen was one of the top-ranking ordinary disciples within the sect. He had a flame spirit. All of his fire-based skills were extremely powerful, and he could gain insights into fire-based techniques much quicker than other disciples. Nobody could compete with him. He was extremely strong. His main objective was to participate in the elite disciple exam of the Yunhai sect and become an elite disciple where he could gain extra resources for cultivation. Obviously, when Li Lin heard what Chen Chen said, he became furious. He had already heard Chen Chen's name and knew exactly how powerful he was. It really was his bad luck that he chose to bully the wrong disciple. There's misunderstanding. Alright, I'm not looking at that skill, said Li Lin, whose facial expression had completely changed. He then retreated away from Chen Chen. Laughter could be heard amongst all of the disciples who were present on the second floor. They clearly thought that Li Lin was a good-for-nothing elite disciple. He had just been terrified by an ordinary disciple. To have an elite disciple back down from an ordinary disciple was a humiliation in itself. What are you laughing at? Laugh again and I will cripple your cultivation. Li Lin regretted his previous actions because he had humiliated himself in the end. He had the feeling that everyone was laughing at him. He needed to find someone so he could have relief from his fury, so his threat was directed towards Lin Feng. He couldn't afford to provoke Chen Chen more than he already had, but he did have the abilities required to provoke other ordinary disciple. Lin Feng was about to leave the pavilion. He was stupefied at the threat he had received. He did not even laugh and had just continued with what he was originally there for. Did he laugh without realizing? In fact, from the beginning to the end, he had remained expressionless. He had been annoyed by the confrontation that was happening but had remained expressionless. That guy didn't dare provoke the others. Did that give him the right to treat Lin Feng as a punching bag? Obviously. Fear the strong and bully the weak, thought Lin Feng with disdain. He was scared of Chen Chen and couldn't continue to bully him, so he had come to bully Lin Feng. But Lin Feng wasn't in the mood to deal with this special kind of childishness. He had chosen his agility technique and martial skills and was satisfied with them. It wasn't necessary for him to stay in the pavilion anymore, so he decided to go downstairs. Lin Feng started walking in the direction of the exit. Stop, you worthless ordinary disciple, how dare you ignore me, said Li Lin looking cruel. He had now run in front of Lin Feng to prevent him from leaving. Lin Feng smiled coldly. That guy obviously just wanted to show off in front of the others as he had just lost face. Worthless ordinary disciple? It looks like you're the one who just got humiliated by an ordinary disciple. Lin Feng had said that in a joking tone. It clearly showed that Li Lin really had no sense of shame. You want to die? Indeed, you're right, said Lin Feng coldly before adding, Li Lin, is that your name? I don't have time to waste on you. Let's meet at the Stormy Gorge in the life and death arena before the elite disciple exam. When Lin Feng said these words, everybody around laughed again. Lin Feng was surprisingly challenging Li Lin as well, but that time with their life at stake. Could Li Lin reject the challenge after being humiliated to such an extent? Interesting, murmured some of the disciples watching from the sidelines. Li Lin looked perplexed. He didn't know what to think about what had just happened. Lin Feng had surprisingly challenged him to a fight to the death, knowing full well that elite disciples could kill ordinary disciples in the gorge. Would he be strong enough? Alright, I'll wait for you there, Li Lin said. Li Lin was caught between a rock and a hard place. Chen Chen knew that too. If he had been scared of an ordinary disciple again, he would have had to hide himself forever from all other disciples in the sect. He couldn't afford to lose face again. Li Lin turned around and immediately left. Lin Feng smiled inside. He didn't look at his opponent. If he wasn't able to defeat the weakest elite disciple of the sect, It would mean he hasn't made any progress and has actually stepped backwards on the path of cultivation. He had already battled an elite disciple when he was only at the 8th chi layer. What's your name? To be able to come to this floor, it means that you've already broken through to the Ling chi layer. How come I've never seen you before? Chen Chen asked. Chen Chen was ranked first from all the ordinary disciples. He knew all of the strongest ordinary disciples by name and had measured their strength against his own. He also knew who had broken through to the Ling chi layer within the sect and how many ordinary disciples had broken through. He was getting prepared to join the elite disciple exam of the Yun Hai sect and hoped to become an elite disciple. He made sure to know about everyone who he would be competing against. But Chen Chen had never seen Lin Feng. Lin Feng, I'm not popular, so it's normal that you've never seen me, replied Lin Feng while smiling in a friendly way. Lin Feng, you mean the rumored piece of trash? Chen Chen was stunned. He had never seen him, but he had already heard Lin Feng's name many times. You are listening to Peerless Martial God audio on light novel Aloud. It seems like one shouldn't believe rumors. How could a piece of trash have broken through to the Ling chi layer? Said Chen Chen while smiling and shaking his head. Then, he added, but even though we are both fellow ordinary disciples, there is still a big gap between you and me. Actually, there's a gigantic gap between you and me, there is nothing comparable. Soon I will become an elite disciple, we are not the same. Lin Feng was a bit surprised. Lin Feng understood what Chen Chen meant. He was referring to the fact that Lin Feng had said to Li Lin that he had been humiliated by another ordinary disciple. In Chen Chen's eyes, Lin Feng's sentence meant that he was saying that they were on the same level. Chen Chen thought that they had nothing in common. He was of course the strongest and Lin Feng was not strong enough to be his equal. It seems like you are very self-confident, replied Lin Feng, not losing his temper and still smiling in a friendly way. Indeed, at least when I am amongst ordinary disciples. I am the number 1 ranked ordinary disciple, replied Chen Chen. Alright, I see. It is said that ordinary disciples need an oil lamp when they are on the first floor and then when it goes off, they must leave. You are indeed very strong, but do you dare exceed that amount of time? Said Lin Feng while laughing. You don't need to flatter me. Indeed, all of the ordinary disciples need that oil lamp on the first floor. However, I am an exception. Because of my strength, I am not bound by the rules. Who would dare say otherwise? Said Chen Chen mocking that the rules were only meant for the weak. Is that so? Lin Feng was smiling and seemed to be very interested. Well, actually, I also can stay as long as I wish on the first floor, but I try to follow the sect rules. You are the first ranked ordinary disciple, you are so strong. It's no problem for me to stay here as long as I wish, so of course it would be even less of a problem for you, right? Are you joking? You plan to stay longer than the time allocated by the oil lamp? Said Chen Chen with a cold smile filled with disdain. Can you not see with your own eyes? Said Lin Feng with a meaningful smile on his face. He then stopped paying attention to Chen Chen. He then started looking at another skill. He didn't intend to practice it, but looking and learning was a wise thing to do. That guy must be crazy. Continuing to stay on the floor, all the elite disciples on the first floor looked at him with interest. They all started to pay attention to the scene that appeared before them. They wanted to see how long he was going to stay. Chen Chen groaned. Lin Feng had arrived before him, so he wasn't in a hurry. Lin Feng's oil lamp would burn out before his and the lie would be exposed. The time for half a lamp to burn had already passed. Chen Chen was looking at a skill. He was frowning, he didn't have much time left on his lamp. He looked at Lin Feng and saw that, as before, he was leaning against the bookshelf looking sluggish and still looking at a skill book. He looked like he was absolutely unaware of the time that was passing. He didn't even pay attention to it. How long can you keep playing your little game? Chen Chen wasn't even in the mood to look at skills anymore. He was soon going to be an elite disciple anyway. He would be able to spend as much as he wished on the first floor and could look at as many skills as he wanted. He was watching Lin Feng and waiting for him to make a fool of himself. But Chen Chen was disappointed. Some time passed again, and Lin Feng didn't seem to be reacting at all. It seemed like he had completely lost the notion of time. He just continued to read the skills leisurely. Are you not leaving yet? Asked Chen Chen, unable to remain calm. He had almost no time left on his oil lamp. If he didn't leave, he would be severely punished by the sect for breaking the rules. I'm not worried. Why are you worried? You are the top-ranked ordinary disciple of the Yun Hai sect. You are a genius, Lin Feng said in an indifferent tone, but everybody understood that he was making fun of Chen Chen. Chen Chen suddenly became furious and said, You want to die? I'm not staying here with you. When you come out, I hope you can explain everything to me. After threatening Lin Feng, Chen Chen turned around and left the Xing Chen pavilion. Top-ranked ordinary disciple? He is just a fool, nothing more, thought Lin Feng while sneering at him, which made Chen Chen, who was looking at him even more furious and killing intent had appeared in his eyes. End of chapter 56. Hope you guys enjoy the chapter. Please consider subscribing and hit that bell button for future updates.